Welcome to the Professional Troublemaker podcast. This is the place where we help you cultivate the courage, authenticity, and audacity you need to use your voice, take up space, and live a life that is so bold, even your wildest dreams say goals. I'm your host, Luvvie Ajayi Jones, New York Times bestselling author, sought-after speaker, and side-eye sorceress, bringing you thought-provoking conversations with amazing people who have taken action and have consistently showed up with the courage and confidence they needed to become the fear fighters they are today. Like the late, great John Lewis said, these are the kind of people who are never, ever afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Before we jump into today's interview, know that this podcast is named after my second book, Professional Troublemaker, The Fear Fighter Manual, which hits bookstore shelves on March 2nd, 2021. How would our lives be different if we were given permission to be disruptors for the greater good? How far would we have gone if we already knew that our jobs aren't to shy away from big things, but to run towards them? How dope would our legacy be if we knew that fear is natural and we're actually supposed to do the things that scare us? How audacious would we be if imposter syndrome wasn't holding on to our ankles? In my new book, I talk about all these things and how my life has transformed as a result of being the person who committed to doing the things that feel bigger than me, doing the things that feel scary as shit, and things that make me lose my breath. This book is dedicated to my late grandmother, Fumilayo Faloyin, who was the professional troublemaker I looked up to when I was growing up. You know what you can say to an elderly Nigerian stateswoman who has been through the darkness of life and conquered all the mountains placed in her way? Not a damn thing. That spirit, those lessons, and that fortitude is the energy that I brought to this book. So you know it's anointed. The Fear Fighter Manual is game-changing, and I know it. So if you value this show, if you value the guests and their stories, the lessons, the wisdom, and inspiration I bring to you, if you've ever listened to something I said and wrote it down, you will love Professional Troublemaker, The Fear Fighter Manual. If you want to commit to fighting fear, imposter syndrome, and constantly finding courage in this scary world, this book is for you. So, I need your help. I need you to help make this book a rousing success. I need you like I needed you for my first book, I'm Judging You, The Do Better Manual. Y'all helped me change my life by supporting it and making it a New York Times bestseller. And I need your help to do that again. Because this book is needed, and I think it will leave a mark on you. I know it, actually. We need to become professional troublemakers, and this manual that I wrote, this book that I wrote, will help you make it happen. So be sure to pre-order Professional Troublemaker today, wherever books are sold, or go to professionaltroublemakerbook.com. You can get the hardcover, the paperback, or audiobook, which I narrated. So the URL is professionaltroublemakerbook.com. I'm so excited for you to read it. On this episode of Professional Troublemaker, I am talking to my girl, my Naija sister, Cynthia Erivo. This conversation is a long time coming, and I'm so excited to have her here. If you don't know Cynthia, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but as far as her official credentials go, Cynthia is a Tony, Emmy, and Grammy Award-winning actress, as well as Academy Award, Golden Globe, and SAG nominee. She played Celie in the West End and Broadway revivals of the musical The Color Purple, and immediately started doing all the TV and movies. She was nominated for an Academy Award for her work in Harriet. That EGOT is coming soon, right? And she currently appears on the HBO series The Outsider. I cannot wait to see her play Aretha Franklin on National Geographic's Genius, Aretha, along with all of the other projects she's got in the works. And my favorite performance she's given ever was when she sang me down the aisle at my wedding in 2019. Here's why Cynthia is a professional troublemaker and why you want to make sure you listen to this interview. First, as a Black woman in show business, she has been through it. She told me some stories in her interview about her coming up in London that I had never heard before, that had me sitting here with my jaw completely dropped. And in spite of it all, she's so confident, completely unbothered about doing anything else but showing up, telling stories, and doing her thing. She always shows up as her best self and works harder than anyone I've ever seen. So check out this conversation. It's really good, and I'm so thankful for Cynthia for her vulnerability and sisterhood. Okay, so this is much overdue, but the timing is perfect because Rants and Randomness is now Professional Troublemakers. Yes. And who better to have on as the essential professional troublemaker than the woman who has every award known to man.
Not quite.
Like every award, and is out here. Cynthia doesn't belong in any boxes. Multi-hyphenate. And even her hair makes trouble.
I mean, sometimes it does.
Even her hair, because sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's pink.
Mm-hmm.
Any given day, I'm always like, I wonder what color hair Cynthia got. You can't bet on it. So welcome to Professional Troublemakers.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
God. Cynthia is one of my main boos. Cynthia is one of my loves.
Oh, I love you.
I love her so much. And I was like, you have to come on my podcast. And she said yes.
Of course. We've definitely taken our time to do this. It's taken a while.
Oh my gosh. So yes, so excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question is,
yes.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
I wanted to be a singer and an actress. And then at some point I changed that to spinal surgeon. And then I went back to being a singer and an actress.
Okay, now talk about that. How did you go from singer and actress to wanting to be a spinal surgeon?
Well, I had this 1 year in high school, I call it secondary school, where I was like obsessed with biology and was really good at it. Like I'm one of those kids that could really have gone either way. I could have done the biology of it all and the science of it all if I really like buckled down. And when I was like truly applied, I was like passing with flying colors. And I was doing that anyway, but I was really like doing well. And then I just was like, no, I realized that was me trying to, strangely enough, trying to fit in with everybody else. Because the people in my class, they were all like super intelligent, wanting to be lawyers or nurses or doctors or vets or whichever's. And I was like, well, I want to be a part of that. Because not many people wanted to be performers. There was only really me. And I was like, well, I could do this, spinal surgery.
That's so you're another failed doctor. Welcome to the club. Like the club is big. There's so many of us.
Yeah.
We're like, we could have actually done.
We could have.
Actually, let's be clear. I probably could not have. I was terrible at science.
No, come on. But like, wasn't it maths that you were terrible at?
I mean, I was okay. I was probably better at math than I was at chemistry, though. Chemistry was a struggle for my life.
I think chemistry was a struggle for most people. Like, you really had to, like, know what you were doing. I liked chemistry, though. But biology was really my bag. Physics, like, I can't even remember the name of this other science. What's the one with the
physics?
Physics, the worst.
Yeah.
I hated it. I actually loved maths. Loved maths. Yeah, I was really good at it.
I was only good at algebra. Trigonometry and calculus, count me out.
But I don't think trigonometry is necessary for anybody. It's ridiculous.
Is algebra really necessary?
Not really, but it's fun to do when you know what you're doing.
It is fun. Solve for X?
Yeah.
Yes, I could do that all day. And then the other ones. Nope. So you went, so what was 5-year-old Cynthia like?
5-year-old Cynthia was bubbly, chatty, would sing everything, probably hummed when she ate, nosy, really nosy. I wanted to know about everything. I wanted to be in everyone's business. I wanted to hear what everyone was talking about. I wanted to see what everyone was doing. That was her. I was fun. Like a bubbly, I'm not shy or anything, ever.
5-year-old Luvvie and 5-year-old Cynthia would have been friends.
I think so too, honestly. Honestly, 5-year-old Luvvie and 5-year-old Cynthia probably would have gotten into trouble a lot, but for nothing other than talking too much.
Facts.
Yeah.
Actual facts. And talking, but and then being really smart so you couldn't really check them.
Because you're really, right. It's one of the, like the two kids that like are always talking. And then when you have the conversation, they do something that makes you laugh, even though you're supposed to get them into trouble. Like you're supposed to yell at them and they do something silly. And they're both really cute and small. So you're kind of like,
Fine.
Just go back to class. It's fine.
That is exactly it.
Whatever.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up so I went to Southwest London, a school in Southwest London, and that's where I grew up. And then we moved when I was about 15 to East London. And that's where I was until I was about 24, 25, yeah.
So then in high school, you went back to the performing arts of it all.
Yes, I did.
You have a Nigerian mama.
I do.
How did she handle it? Was she cool? Was she supportive? Or was she like, I want you to be a doctor?
She was really supportive because she's a bit of a rebel herself. She was, she came over to London when she was about, I want to say 24. She came to London on her own. She came with one of her sisters, but they like basically her sister went and did her thing, and she went and did her thing as well. And she was sent here to do one thing and did something totally different because she wanted to. She's like, I don't want to do this thing that is being asked of me. I know what I want to do. I want to do this. And I think that because she was brought here, sent here to do something else that wasn't her passion, I don't think she ever wanted to inflict on me the same thing. So she just wanted me to do what I wanted to do, but do it really well. So
that's a privilege.
Yeah,
that is a privilege that a lot of immigrant kids did not have.
And I'm like, very aware of that. Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Come on, Edith Erivo.
Yeah, she did good. She did really good. Like, and I think that even because there was a moment when I was about 18, 19, when I had like just stopped for a little bit. Like I wasn't singing really. And before I would like do different like talent shows and go to different spaces. And I just needed to take a break. And she noticed. And she was like, I just want to make sure you're still singing. Like, and just like in passing. I think I was like walking to the kitchen or something. And she was like, I'm just making sure that you're still singing.
Wow. Oh
and I was like,
God.
Damn it, yes, okay, fine.
She convicted you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this voice that you have, first of all, this voice that you have, there's I was having a conversation with somebody and I was like, I really deeply believe that God does give us gifts that nobody else has.
Right.
Because you can practice until your face is blue and still not have this voice. Ain't no world in which I can be like, dedication will give me Cynthia Erivo's voice. Ain't no world. I need people to understand. Ain't no discipline or motivation gonna actually give you a voice that sounds like Jesus cried on your freaking vocal cords, okay?
Not Jesus cried on your vocal cords. That is hilarious.
So I think I've seen a clip of you when you were like 7 singing.
Something like that, probably.
So when did you actually first start singing?
My mom thinks I started singing when I was about 18 months old. So like baby. She writes in my book, Cynthia started singing when she was such and such, and she hums when she eats. So that humming thing happened a long time ago. Like it started when I was young. I don't remember that. I only remember my first time singing out loud in front of people when I was about 5. And I did Silent Night. Nativity play. Might not have been. I don't think it was. What was the one when I was 7?
I saw something of you when you were young, and I was like, that's nuts.
What did I look like? What was I wearing?
I don't remember this. I don't remember this, but...
Because that is the only way I can tell you. Like, if you can remember what I was wearing, I could tell you exactly where I was.
So your first, at 5 though, where was that?
5. It's primary school when I was a shepherd, and they had asked me to sing Silent Night. I don't know why.
And then when you were 7?
When I was 7, I can't remember what that was. I feel like it was like a talent show or something, or...
Like, I know, I'm like, am I making this up? I feel like
because it might be when I think what you're seeing, I might have been older and I put myself into like a stage school type thing. So I could do like musicals and sing with people. And that might have been one of the videos that you saw, because there's a video of me like when I'm really young that I'm like 15 or something.
Okay, maybe that's what I saw. So you knew you had this gift. You knew you had this voice. And your mom was encouraging you, which, y'all, like the power of the professional troublemakers in our lives who tell us you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to be the doctor. Like she gave you permission to
straight up
to be this person.
Yeah.
So when you graduate from high school, what did you do?
I start for some reason, don't know why, because I didn't have the information that I needed to go on this path of performance. So I go to university to start studying the psychology of music or something like that. Music psychology. And essentially that is the way in which music affects the mind or affects the psychology of a person. So like a minor song, why does that make us feel sad? Or a major song, why does that make us feel happy? And then how that affects our social standing, like what music does to us in social surroundings and almost like hierarchies and I was like, this is great but for me it was like simple because I was also like doing backing vocals at the same time and singing. I was doing like nightclubs at the same time, like singing behind people during the night and then at university in the daytime. So I'm watching the results of what music does to people. Like that's my job. And so writing these papers was like, okay, this is what happens when blah, blah, blah. When you sing a minor note, there's something that happens with the mind and it's the synapses put together and causes tears and we attach the minor note to the sadness. But like, we know that's the stuff like I was like writing because I understood it, but I wasn't needing to like think that much about it. I wasn't really needing to apply myself. And I wasn't stimulated. So I knew something wasn't right. Year and a half goes in, I'm passing, it's fine. But I'm like bored, very bored. It's not connecting, nothing, it just doesn't feel right. So I leave and I go and do there's a young actors company course at a theatre called Stratford Theatre Royal in East London. I go and do that. I sign up for it. And when I sign up for it and get ready to start, the day I start, the tutor comes in who's going to be taking the class for us. And I'm standing in like the ticket office, getting ready. I don't know why I'm there. I'm probably talking to some of the ladies because I know them. It's like my local theatre and I go there all the time. I used to work there and all sorts. So the tutor comes in and it happens to be this woman called Ray McKen. Ray took me through a direct, like a acting course when I was about 15. So I'm 20 years old now. This is 5 years later. When I was 15, I did young actors course, like a youth company that would take the main production from the main theatre house at the Young Vic and then create a youth production version of that production. The production then was of Romeo and Juliet, and I played Juliet in the youth production.
Okay.
Ray was the director of this youth production. Hadn't seen her for ages. Hadn't seen her at all for ages. Like, that show finishes. It's really great. I have a great time and I don't see her again. 5 years later, I bump into her in the foyer, the ticket office of this theater where I'm doing this young actors company, and she happens to be teaching it. She says to me, "Are you going to train?" I say, "What does that mean? What do you mean train?" She says, "Will you go to drama school?" I said, "I don't know how. What does that?" Again, what is drama school? And she goes, "Well, drama school is where you go to train if you want to be an actor. You should go to drama school." And I was like, "I don't know how that works. So I don't think it's possible." She goes, "I think you should go to RADA. RADA is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts." And I was like, no. First of all, it has Royal Academy in it. That means I'm not going to get in. So
because a black girl in London.
And East London is not going to get into the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. It's just not going to happen. That's like the automatic thing that I thought. That's a nonsense idea. I'm not going to do it. She said, "Well, if you don't apply, then you can't come to this course."
Oh,
I was like,
yes.
"What do you mean?" She said, "If you don't apply to this school, if you don't come into my office, this afternoon and apply to this school. You're not coming to this course.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Fine. Not even thinking about it, because I just wanted to do the course and I was annoyed.
Yeah.
Highly annoyed. I was like, okay, fine. I'll apply. And to like spite her, I didn't apply to anywhere else.
You just applied to
RADA. I auditioned for RADA. It's 4 rounds. First round goes well. I get to the second round. Second round, they ask me if I would apply to any other drama school if I didn't get into this one. And I went to say yes, to like give a PC answer. Yes, I would, because, you know, I love drama. I love acting, and I would love to. And the word yes was like there, but what came out of my mouth was no.
Ooh.
Like I remember this. I remember it. I remember going, they are. So, you know, if this doesn't work out, would you apply to any other drama schools? And like, would you try again for something else? And I went, no.
Ooh.
I wouldn't. I don't really want to go anywhere else. So. Wow. Silence and then laughter. Because I think it's probably it was probably one of the most honest moments they'd had that day.
Yes.
Because I was like not pretending.
Yeah.
And I had already like made a decision that the only thing that I was going to be whilst I was doing this was myself, because I was determined that I was not going to get in. So it didn't matter if I was just like me.
Right. You were just like, I'm just going to show up because I have nothing to lose.
Yes. I didn't dress up. I remember I had tracksuit bottoms on. I had like an easy top, and I remember I had a headscarf on, tied up my hair. Like I was that. Like that's how I turned up to this thing. And they were like, oh great, she's here. In their eyes, wonderful. She's here to work.
Wow.
So all these things I thought were like counting against me were actually like, tick, great, she's here to work. Tick, great, she's honest. Tick, great, she's good to work with people. Like that's what was happening. So audition 2 goes really well. They put me in audition 3. Audition 3 is like working with everybody and working through speeches. That goes really well. Audition 4, you stand in front, like you work for the day, and then your last thing of that day is to say whatever speech you've rehearsed or learned in front of the faculty and everyone who might be in your year that year. Yeah. So you've got like 30 other kids or something like that looking at you whilst there's like the whole staff looking at you reading your speech or like saying your speech. So it comes to this speech, and there's another woman who's doing the same speech as me. She gets up before me, she starts speaking the speech, and she goes blank. No lines. She goes blank and pauses for a second, and I feed her the line.
Wow.
Well, we do the same speech. And the thing is, my brain doesn't go, oh, no, she'll fail and I can do the speech now. That's great.
Yeah.
My brain goes, give her the line. You know the line. So the line comes out before I can even think about it. It's like an automatic, like, here's the line, here's the line, here's the line. And she got back on it and she continued the speech. It was just sort of like a natural sort of like,
let me help her out.
And we both ended up in the year.
Oh, my God. So when you got the acceptance to RADA.
Yeah. They called me. I remember it was a Saturday morning. I had sort of just gotten up and gotten ready. I remember my curtain was still closed. I remember the day was sunny. I was upstairs in my bedroom, and the artistic director of the school called me and asked and said to me, hey, I'm just calling you to let you know you did really well at these auditions, and I'm wondering if you would like to be a part of this year's intake of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. And I asked him if he was serious. Are you serious? He said, yes. I was like, no, but really, like, is this for real? Like, for real? This is real? He said, yes. I said, yes. Okay. Yes. That's how I found it. And then the acceptance letter came, and it was just like, it was wild because I really didn't think I was going to get in it at all. And that sort of like begins the story, really. And here's the thing, this school, by no means was the school perfect, but it really was like the beginning of me understanding that when I'm myself, that's when I'm at my best. And when I the times when I doubt whether or not I can do something, like I'm always proved wrong.
I recently posted about this prayer that I do about let my helpers find me.
Yeah.
and how it is my anchor prayer for moments where I'm about to like go into something that feels really strange.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing is you keep finding helpers who are like, this woman said, you're not going to take this class unless you apply to this school.
Right.
And that is what forced you to apply to the school that you didn't think you could even get
Straight
into.
up. Yeah.
And then ended up showing up with an attitude and getting in.
When I say it was, I went in with like, and then like, I don't know, it just was like, and I remember I sat in and there was this wonderful woman who I think is still working, and her name is Joan Oliver. She's the biggest smile and these really cool glasses. And I remember she just was so northern Black woman who I think was just like, this girl, I know this girl. And I think she was at the table doing the interviews with me with like 2 other people. And I think she was like, I recognize this girl. And I think I get her. And all through my, like, it's a 3-year course, and all through those 3 years, we would talk to each other. And I think I still have her number, and we would text from time to time. She was like, I think she was my caretaker this time. She was my helper. Yeah.
She guided you through the whole thing?
She did, yeah. She was really lovely.
I assume that RADA does not have a lot of Black folk in it.
I was one of 4 in my year.
So a lot of people who think about just like arts and being Black in the arts are thinking through the US lens. And I think people have a lot of misconceptions or actually no idea what it's like in the UK. Mm-hmm. How did that unfold for you as one of 4 in a class of what, 30?
Yeah, in a class of 34, I was one of 4 Black people.
Shit.
Yeah.
How was that?
Odd. Very odd. A lot of microaggressions, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of assumptions that I was aggressive, a lot of assumptions that I didn't want to, that like I had issues with other people, a lot of assumptions that I didn't need the help that everybody else needed, and I was efficient and strong on my own. A lot of assumptions that the characters I would play were strong Black women in parentheses, and it took a lot to like jut against it. And actually, like, I'm only now coming to like the understanding of some of the racist things that were happening, to be honest. Like silly things like when I first got there, just before I started working there, or started going, I landed a job as a backing vocalist for a really big band here in the UK. And that gig would have paid for my entire time there.
Okay.
So I asked if I could do it. They said, no, you can't do it. When I got there, I realized that they had let a white boy go and do a play for 2 weeks. Basically, the length of time he was doing the play was the length of time I would have done my gig. My gig would have paid for me to be at RADA. His play was just like a frivolous thing that I don't know whether it paid him or not, but it was a thing that he wanted to do. And I guess his play was worth more than my gig. And he was an Etonian boy who didn't really need the help, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you with the single mother who's like, I need to get every dollar I can get.
Yeah. And then I realized they started punishing me for it. They punished me for it. I didn't realize until the very end when I left that they had punished me for it. So in the 3rd year, well, actually, it's like the end of first year, you sort of like do presentations, and obviously they cast things, and they kept giving me like the smallest roles in these things. And when I came to the end of my time there, because I'm a big mouth, I went to the artistic director and I asked him what their plan was with me, because it felt like at every turn they were failing. Like, what were you planning to do with me? Because by the time I left slightly early because I had landed my agent and I had a show to go to. And so I had done everything that was necessary in that year. And the next thing that they were doing was like a showing for people to get agents. I didn't need to do it. I already had mine, and I already had a play to go and do. So I asked him what on earth was going on and what they wanted me to do. Because when we went into the third year and we were doing all of these shows, there was a musical, and you sort of like, the assumption is, well, there's a couple of kids in our year was particularly musical, but like there's one girl here that like really does these musicals.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They gave me the smallest role again in this musical. Gave these other girls, I need not describe to you what they look like,
Sure.
the main roles, all of whom got ill.
All of them got, look at the spirit.
They got ill. And then they asked me, instead of taking them out and just asking me to play these roles, they asked me, and I was foolish for doing it in the end, because now obviously hindsight's 2020, you look back and you think, why the hell did I do that? And why didn't I feel strong enough to go, absolutely not, do it yourself? Asked me to sing for them. So I would sing, because they both lost their voice. I sang, they lip sync.
Wait, so they were on stage?
Lip syncing to my voice for this musical. So I remember at the end of this, I asked my assistant director what they planned for me. He said, well, in that first year, there was that issue with you wanting to go off and do the backing vocals for the group. And, we just didn't think that you were, 100% committed to doing this. So we didn't feel like you were ready to do any large roles. So we were giving you the small roles, not realizing that gig, I wanted to do it because it would have paid for everything. So I didn't have to worry about it. Like, I ended up working through the whole entire, like I was working the entire time. But, when you're working the entire time and you're doing like, basically, it's like your day starts at like 8, doesn't finish till like 6, sometimes 7. And when you're doing shows, sometimes it ends at 9. So you're doing like round the clock. So it means that you're 5 days a week doing that. Sometimes you're working on the Saturdays because you have to come in. And then right. I worked on a Sunday. And then there are days when I would finish working at RADA, finish doing RADA, and then go and do a gig at night. Like, that's what I was doing. But had I have just done that, I would have been like, well, I might do a Sunday job just for like spending money, but.
Wow. And then they punish you for the shit?
And they punished me for it. They made it, they took it out on me as a student.
I'm blown. I'm not shocked. I'm just blown, because hearing these experiences is so deeply infuriating. It's like, what the hell? So you left RADA, you finished RADA. What happened next?
Left RADA, went to do this little tiny play in Brighton, which is like 20 minutes outside of London, like a little seaside town. Brighton's one of my favorite places in the world. It's like so simple. It's just this little seaside town with like piers and candy floss and all of that stuff, but it's just lovely. And I remember loving this play, and it felt like that play led to like an English touring theatre thing where I was playing Constance. It's like D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers and Constance. And I was playing that woman. And that was an interesting play because, again, surrounded by older white guys and, again, lots of microaggression and lots of terrible things said. One guy who was playing D'Artagnan, so we did a lot of work together on stage. He was, I remember we did a sword fight. One of the rules of like sword fighting is that your partner should always know what is going to happen. Like you practice it in the speed you're going to do it, and the speed should not change when you're on stage. Like it's just like a trust thing, right? One day he just decides that he feels like going faster. Doesn't tell me. I realize maybe by the second hit that he's moving at like warp speed. So I'm petrified on stage doing this. And I was like, dude, at the end of it, I was like, what the heck happened? And why wouldn't you tell me that you're going to do that fast? I just felt like you could take it.
What?
I think he was scared. Yeah. I remember just before an entrance on stage to the two of us, he said, so why do you talk the way you talk? I said, what do you mean? Well, I mean, like, is that because you went to RADA? Meaning, I sound too well spoken for a Black girl.
Right.
And the only way I could sound like I sound is because I've gone to RADA.
Because you were trained in RADA.
Because I was trained at RADA, not realizing that I had aunties who would be like, don't you ever leave off the T at the end of the word can't. And don't you ever say the word ain't, which is why whenever I say that word, it doesn't sound right on me. Like, he doesn't realize that it had nothing to do with RADA. Like when I was at RADA, they didn't, you had these like RP lessons or accent lessons, and I didn't have to do RP. I didn't really have to do that because the way I naturally spoke just was sort of like that. That's just what it was. And he just was like, he would do, I mean, it was just such a weird thing. It was a weird thing. He had a perceived notion about what Black people sounded like, looked like, were like, and assumed that I was that, until I was like, why do you keep imagining me like that? Like, he would like feign he would like pretend to be a rapper when he spoke to me.
Oh, God. Oh, God, Chad. Jeez. And how
like,
long did you have to work with him?
It was a good few months. It was a good 3 or 4 months. Because we toured this show.
Jesus. Yeah. So in all of this, you're just trying to do your job.
I'm just trying to do my job, face my front, mind my business, do my job. That's all I'm trying to do.
And you have to deal with all the white boys because what the hell?
And also it's like, and you're dealing with it because not a lot of the jobs that come out, and maybe it may be changing now, but not a lot of the jobs while I was like coming up had space for Black girls. They just didn't. You'd have like the smaller roles. Like you'd be the best friend, or you'd be like the small role in that. Like it was really interesting. You're watching TV and you're basically watching the same period drama over and over again, and I can't see me in it. Basically, anywhere before the 70s or 60s, we did not exist in the UK, apparently.
Wow.
Which is just like, that's not true, because I know that my mum was here when she was 24. So that was way before. What are we talking about here?
That's all across the world. Black folks in the diaspora just got to deal with the same shit.
It's all the same stuff
across the world. Our struggles are so parallel. So then how did you so you started doing the play, like Color Purple, the play?
Yes. So
how old were you at that point?
I remember I was in the middle of touring Sister Act, and someone said that the Color Purple was coming to London. And I was like, I want to do that. And I was like determined. So I tracked it and like kept asking when it was coming. And then finally it landed and they said the Color Purple is coming to London. It's going to this little theatre called the Meunier Chocolate Factory, which is like a little 200-seater theatre. And I was like, okay, great. And I want to do it. I would like to do this show because I don't know why. My gut and my heart were like, you're supposed to do this show. You have to do this show. You have to, yeah. And they wouldn't see me. They refused to see me. They wouldn't see me. I don't know. I think that they assumed that a Black girl who had gone to RADA and had done like big old musicals could not connect to the character Celie. Couldn't connect. What they didn't realize was I was a Black girl who was raised by a single mother and who put herself through the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. That's what I was.
They assumed you were posh and like came from this really privileged background.
Yes.
And were like, she can't be Celie because no. Meanwhile, you're like, I lived in the hood in London. Yeah. So they refused to see you. How did you end up actually like cutting through it?
I got my agent to badger them consistently. And then a friend of who is now a friend of mine, but someone, his name is Jason Pennycook, who also actually was part of the Young Actors Company. So he had seen what I could do before, and he had taken a lesson for us, and he taught. He put in a good word for me with the artistic director of the theater and said, hey, you should really see this girl, like just see her. So I get this message, they want to see me, they send me 4 scenes and ask for one of the songs from the show and another song. So I have to do 2 songs and 4 scenes. But
Okay.
I think I've got like two nights to do it. 2 nights to get it ready.
Challenge.
Yes. I was like, I know what you guys are doing. I know you're trying to trip me up here, but what's going to happen is I'm going to learn this like the back of my hand, and you won't have a reason to say no. Yes. And that's exactly what happened. So I remember I was lying on my bed and learning these like scenes, going over them and over them and over them and over them. And then I go in, John Doyle is my director. I think his name was, I remember there's a producer sitting in the back of the room, and then the artistic director is sitting at this desk in this audition room. Lights are sort of like low, so it's not like bright lighting, which is really nice. It's like an evening audition. So I go in and I do these scenes, and John sort of disarms me because he's really gentle. He's like this older Scottish man who I love dearly. He's the most wonderful, kind person. Mm. And we do these scenes, and then he starts talking to me about like my life, because I think what surprises him is that I can connect to this person. But what he sees in front of him is someone who has like done this musical. So at that point, like I've started like this nail business started a long time ago. So I walk in with nails. And like, I think I had come off stage or had come from something. So I was all done up and my nails are done up. So not because of this, but it's just because I was doing something. So I do this and it sort of cuts through, and he's sort of like, tell me about yourself. Like, tell me about where you come from, like who your parents are, like what tell me about you. So I explained to him, well, this is like, my mom raised me, my dad disowned me, this is like my life. I put myself through other musicals I do because I love singing and I love the idea of being able to join everything together. And he was like, huh, okay. I sing the song, the music supervisor and the MD are crying. And I remember leaving the audition thinking, okay, I think this went well. A month or 2 goes past. I do this other little play at another theater called the Soho Theater. And then get a call saying that The Color Purple's happening and you have the role. Yeah. And I was so excited. Like, that was all I wanted. Like, just to do this show at this 200-seater theater, that's what I wanted. I didn't know what that would lead to. I can't tell you why I was so determined to do the show. I can't say that it was just because I loved the play. I loved this show and I loved what it stood for. I loved the characters. I loved the music. But I just knew that I needed to be doing this show, this time, this place.
That was God in the universe.
And it just totally changed my life.
It's like, I want you to do this thing and be in this place because this is what I'm good. This is the door opener for you.
Exactly.
This is the door, because some things we do, we don't even know what is pushing us to do it. We have no clue why all of a sudden this is the thing we're honing in on. And we're like, what is the bit? Why do I care so much about this?
Why do I care so much?
Why do I care? And then you find out why you care, because the show premieres.
Yeah. Show premieres.
Celie.
Sold out basically every night. They decide, I don't know why they do this, but Ben Brantley from the New York Times does a review, comes to see the show in London, which is really strange and odd because that never really happens. You don't get someone from the US coming to review a play. There's no reason, but he does. He comes to do this review and he gives it like a love letter. It's like a love letter. Like, it's a lovely, lovely review of this show. a lot of the English reviews were not very nice at all.
Really?
Oh my God. One of the reviews complained that it wasn't violent enough.
What?
No, for real. One of the reviews complained that it wasn't violent enough. Mind you, the version you see on Broadway is less violent.
Correct. Than the book.
Than the version I did in London. Like in London, at one point, I'm thrown on the floor by Mr. Thrown to the floor. I'm shoved to the back of the wall many times, like grasped up in my hand. Like it wasn't violent enough for this person. One reviewer said they didn't understand why I didn't get grayer. Mind you, Celie only gets to age 45. She gets age 45, tops 50. So I don't know how gray you need her to be.
They need her to look decrepit at the end of the show is what they wanted. They wanted Celie to look just downtrodden and devastated.
Yeah, they weren't happy enough to see, like, they didn't like the idea that this woman actually was, like, lovely by the end of the show. One reviewer referred to us as a gospel choir.
I hate everybody. I do. I hate people.
And I was like, only the UK. Even though the thing was sold out, every night. People were like stamping. I'd never seen an English audience respond to a show the way they responded to this show. Like people stamping on the floor and like standing ovations. Like they don't do that. Before our show, like standing O's were not like a thing. It's not a thing. They don't do that very often here at all. And like every night we would get it. And every night people would stamp on the floor and get up in the middle of the song. Like it was really like wild. I'd never experienced it like that before.
Because the Brits are a very restrained people.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it comes to watching shows, they're sort of like, let's sit back, wait, finish, let everyone get things done, and then we'll applaud afterwards. That's usually the sort of like manner, but this was like totally different. It was like mania. It was crazy. But for some reason the reviews just didn't, it's like they didn't like that.
They didn't like it. They were like, a black one. No, this is a black production and people are liking it. Let's throw all the shade on it.
But this one New York review just changed everything. And my producers were like, I think we should take this to Broadway. Yeah. And so when they asked me this on the opening night or first preview, and I was like, I thought they were joking. So when they said to me, hey, would you come with this if we took it to Broadway? And I was like, sure. I mean, if you'll have me.
You was like, y'all bullshitting. Okay.
But sure. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I'd love to. Not realizing that was a real question. Cut to a couple of months later, I get called into the artistic director's office to tell me that the show was going to Broadway and that they're just looking for a theater. I was like, oh. And he said, if we find this theater, John does not want to do the show without you. So if you would like, would come with the show. I would, okay.
And what year was this?
This is 2013.
7 years ago.
7 years ago. And then it took another year for everything to be sorted.
Okay.
And then 2015, I flew out.
Imagine being in an online space where people's foolishness doesn't make you want to fight the air. That might sound impossible with your current choices for social media, but I was sick of wading through nonsense to find like-minded people, so I created my online community. And if you're the kind of person who is striving to be a professional troublemaker and fight fear, we need you to join us in that community because you need people to cheer you on. Love Nation is my online community and app that is a safe space in a dumpster fire world. It's the place for the most thoughtful, funny, most chill-deficient people on these interwebs. We're a community that comes together to make each other better with curated conversations, opportunities to connect, and challenges to help us transform and do better in every area of our lives. So, I want you to come in there, join us, become a citizen of Love Nation. So go to luvnation.com, LUVVNATION. Download the app in the App Store or on your Android. It's on iOS and Android. And come on through. All right, back to the podcast. So tell me about that moment about actually, how was it to be like, I'm leaving home?
Petrifying. Petrifying. Absolutely petrifying. Because I'd never done that before. I'd never, like, it's not just leaving home and going across to like, moving in the same country to another city or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm leaving the country to go to another country.
The continent.
Yes, I'm leaving the continent to move on over to another continent. I was like, what? I don't know if I can do this. Because I really didn't believe it was happening until we started organizing my ticket. And I was like, ooh.
And during this time, what was your mom saying?
I think she was just really, really proud. And she was just making sure that I had the things I needed. And she was just really sweet. And I don't think any of us really understood what was happening until like the ticket was in my hand and I had to go to the airport. Like what my mom got to the airport, everyone was a mess. My best friend came with me to the airport. My mom came with me to the airport. My sister, I think had like to work that day, but saw me off at the door and was like in tears, but couldn't show the tears. So she tilted her head up. She was like, oh, we're going. Hilarious. And I think it all just sort of like hit us because I was like leaving. Now I didn't know I was leaving to begin a new life.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just knew that I was leaving with this play and I would be away for a while, which is like a big deal in itself.
Yeah.
But like, it was so odd. It was odd. And like 50-50 whether I was going to be on that plane or not. Yeah.
At this point, you are what, 27?
I'm 20. Yeah.
You're 27.
51. Yeah. Yeah.
You're leaving home for the first time.
Yeah.
To go pursue a dream you didn't even think was real until you were getting on the plane.
Right.
And you show up to the United States, you show up to New York.
Yep.
And everybody loses their shit. I remember when The Color Purple started, and because Color Purple is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite books. And me being like, oh my God, I'll eventually one day go watch this on Broadway. I never got a chance to, funny enough, because trash. I was like, damn it. I didn't have the plug. It was, again, because Color Purple was always sold the heck out.
I know.
Color Purple was always sold
wild.
out. And I didn't have the plug, right? And I was like, dang, one day, right? Wow. So how was it when the show started in New York for you?
Wild, because here's the thing. You just have no expectation of what's going to happen. You start the show and you're like, okay, this is going to be really cool. We'll see what happens. People might like it. People might not like it. We open, the show happens, standing ovation in the middle of the song. And I was like, how do I do it? Like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, okay, I need to move the story forward. In the
middle of a song, standing ovation.
So the song, I'm Here happened. And at the end of the song, I'm Here, people got up. This is not the end of the show.
You're right.
This is not the end of the show. We have a good 10, 15 minutes left of this show at this point. It's just the song. And people stood up. I was like, oh, okay, this might be a thing. This might be a thing. But who knows? Second night, same thing. Night after that, same thing. By the time we get to opening night, people are like, have you been to Color Purple? Have you been to Color Purple? Color Purple? Heard about Color Purple? Have you had that color? And I'm like, I'm just here minding my own business, singing this, doing it.
Singing my song, doing my job.
Doing my song, doing my job. That's all I'm doing. I had no idea how much of an impact it would make. To this day, people are like, yeah, you might not have known this, but I've seen this show 5 times. Or I should so. I in places that I would never expect. People that I would never expect to have seen the show have seen the show.
And how long was Color Purple? Did you actually end up playing Celie on Broadway? How long were you with the show then?
14 months.
How many shows a week?
8 shows a week.
Jesus.
8 shows a week. And I think someone said we did 463 performances altogether. I think I maybe did, I'm gonna be harsh on myself and say maybe I did 400 of those 463.
Holy shit.
I may have done a couple more than that, but I definitely did about 400.
In 14 months?
Yes.
That's some serious stamina. That's some serious. How did your voice? I recorded an audiobook for 3 days. My voice is tired. I'd be like, "Whoo, Lord." I'm like, "Whoo, I just put in some work, guys. I just really did a lot of work, and I'm gonna be on vocal rest now. Thank you." And you were, I was there like, "Who I spent?" You doing 8 shows.
8 shows a week. It was nuts. And Christmas time is the worst because you don't do 8 shows a week. You do like 16 shows in a row. They just do it weirdly. So it's so that you can get Christmas Day off or Christmas Eve off and New Year's Eve or New Year's Day off. So that the schedule changes. So you end up doing like between 11 to 16 shows back to back. And it's so awful. That is an awful situation to be in.
Jesus, that just made my throat hurt. That just made my throat hurt.
I was tired. I was really like a shell by the end of it. Like I was a total shell.
When did you finally know it was time to move on?
So they asked me, so we were supposed to finish the show in, I'm going to say we were supposed to finish November 2016, which would have been a year from when we did it. And then they asked if I would extend through to January. So January 8th was when I was done.
2017, your birthday.
January 8th, 2017, my birthday. And that was the end of it.
You and I met a month later.
Yes.
Like, I was like, damn it. we met at
Was
Makers.
at the Makers.
It was at Makers Conference.
Yeah.
And I think somebody was like, "Oh, you gotta meet Cynthia Erivo." And I was like, "I know who Cynthia Erivo is." And then we met and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's like my long lost sister." Like,
I know, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. Like hit it off straight away. Could have known you for years.
Like, this is my long lost sister. And we look alike.
It was so weird.
We're the same size. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." I remember I was like, "Oh, you have to meet other people that I know." And I pulled you into the hallway.
You pulled me into the hallway.
And I think I called Bose and Yvonne. And I was like,
"Oh my
y'all have to talk to her because she needs to be a part of Voltron because she's everything." And sure enough, like literally I pulled you into the hallway, was like, "Oh, I got somebody for you to meet right now." So I was like, people who you also love dearly. And that's how our love story began. From The Color Purple. So The Color Purple opened up all these doors for you. And honestly, y'all know everything that's happened ever since. Like, Cynthia has had this supernova growth in her career and is now a superstar. You won an Emmy,
I did,
a Grammy, and a Tony.
Yes, all for The Color Purple.
All for The Color Purple. Like,
yeah, it was really wild.
That's nuts.
It is nuts.
All you're missing is the O to become an EGOT. And that's going to happen. Because, you know, the African grandmama's already praying about it.
It's true.
They're already, listen, it is prayed about. Mama Abba's currently praying about it. For you in this journey, even just like looking back and reflecting.
Yeah.
What do you think is something that has changed you or something that you've learned about yourself and about the world?
Well, a few things have changed me, actually. I think what I have learned is that you can only really be as true as you can for yourself, that people will perceive you how they wish until they meet you.
Yeah. You
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's something I've definitely learned. And I think that I have learned that I really like myself. I like myself, and I don't have to force anybody else to like me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And you've done some really big things in life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I even talk about in my book is just the audacity to even dare to do big things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've been forced to do those big things. Sometimes other people will push you because then that's a gift in itself.
Yeah.
How do you now, like at this point in your career, how do you now commit yourself to not being afraid of even bigger things?
I'm not afraid of it. Because it just all sort of, I've got to a place, and I was at this place a long time ago, where things just sort of happen sometimes, and the opportunities sort of like turn up, and they go, "Hi, would you like to take this opportunity here?" And I like make a decision immediately, and I go, "Yes," because what I don't want to live with is, I wish I would have. Yeah. I really should have. I could have. Why didn't I? Yeah. I don't want to. If something works, then something works. If something doesn't, then it doesn't. But at least I know that I will have tried.
It's better to live a life of, oh, well, instead of what if.
Yes.
It's like never thinking that if I had only made this move, how would my life be different?
Right.
And that's real. We got to honor that. How do you make sure you betray yourself less in this process?
Make sure that I have really wonderful people around me who aren't afraid to go, no, not quite Cynth. Yeah. And not being afraid of hearing, no, not quite Cynth. And I like make a point to have those people around me, because I'm not very good with, I don't know what it is, but I'm like allergic to people like that. I'm like, yes, everything you do is right. Yes. That because now I don't believe you at all. I would rather someone say, we could do it like that, but this works better.
I like no people around me.
Oh, I do.
Tell me no.
Tell me, please.
Please.
Tell me no, because then I can avoid that. That is great. Tell me no. I would rather that.
Because if you're full of yes people, you're going to be doing all types of shenanigans that nobody's checking you on.
Right.
And you be out here just bogus.
Yeah. And I get people around me that have more experience than I do. Like I try to find people who know more. I don't want to be the cleverest person in the room. I don't want to be the person that knows the most. I just don't. I don't want to, because if I'm the person that knows the most, I'm not learning. So I try to, that allows me to not betray myself, because it means that I'm consistently learning from those who know more than I do. And I love that. I love that. It makes me happy to know less, because that means my mission is to consistently learn.
It makes me happy to know less because my mission is consistent. That's a gem. That is a gem. That's a gem, honestly. And I think you and I have this conversation all the time about the landmines of the glow up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think once you stop being the underdog, you become the target.
True.
And listen, me and you are deeply connected in many ways, as you know.
Yes.
How do you anchor yourself in the tough moments when you're attacked?
Yeah. Sometimes it's very difficult to anchor yourself because you're human and shit hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That stuff hurts. And you can't pull everyone aside and go, now, wait a minute, that's actually not true. And that's not what happened. And here's who I actually am. And please see me for who I actually am. And please meet you can't do that with everybody.
Yeah.
All you can do is consistently show up with your best self. That doesn't mean perfect, but show up with your best self. Show up with the best of intentions every single time. And then keep doing the work, keep doing good work, keep showing up in a way that that shows that you're human and that your humanity is what you put first and others' humanity is what you put first. Understand that those people who might attack you don't actually know you. And so you don't know them. They don't know you. I don't know what they're going through. They don't know what you're going through. And that's okay. And so hopefully one day they might come back and go, oh, actually, she's not so bad. But that is not for you to fix or solve. Yours is to make sure that people who have made the effort or who want to know more about you, want to learn you more, get the opportunity to do so. If you shut down, there are people in the world who are looking at you and using you as their inspiration and using you as a way to move forward.
Yeah.
Who won't have anyone anymore.
That's real shit. That's real shit. And I think also the whole humanizing each other and humanizing us. Yeah. That's also why I was like, people don't really know your background.
No.
People don't know. People, again, just like how people thought in the 20s, when you went to audition for Color Purple, that you come from the super privileged background and then you see the posh Cynthia who's dripped in the jewels and you're like, listen, this is who she is today.
Right.
Who you were yesterday is this girl. And you've talked about even growing up without your father. And listen, we have that in common too. And dealing with that in this process. How do you think that's actually showing up now?
Me not growing up with my father?
Yes, because I know I have daddy issues all day.
You know, it's shown up in, I think, like the determination to really do well. It's like the part of it is almost like an FU. Like, you're gonna miss me. Like, there is that. There is also the, I don't know, there's like the want for acceptance and the want for people not to reject. Because mine was a real true rejection. So there's that sort of fear that if I do something wrong, that I'm going to be totally rejected.
Yes.
So
abandonment.
Yes. And then you have to sort of like offset that with, you're okay. One person did that. One person doing it does not mean that everyone in the world is going to do that. That doesn't mean that everyone that shows up in your life is going to do that. So you're consistently having to reassure, and therapy is a really good thing too.
Amen. Can we say amen for therapy?
Amen for therapy. Because that sometimes and listen, Black women out here, I'm speaking to you all. A lot of us need the help. Please go get some help.
Yes.
Please go seek it.
Yes.
Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it, because it really is saving our lives. It's to save your life. Yeah.
And I honestly, here's the thing, like anybody who's any type of visibility, I need you to go to therapy.
I need you to go to therapy.
Just
you should. Yeah.
Just go. Because let me tell you, the stuff that comes with this shit is trash.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Some of it is just absolute trash. Some of it you have to be like, you're consistently trying to prove. There's like the proving of yourself over and over again. It's never really enough.
Yes.
And so you have to find a way to get to understand that you're never going to prove yourself enough.
Yes.
And so all you have to do is prove yourself for yourself.
Prove yourself to yourself. Yes. That's huge. That's
like,
huge.
You can't do it for anyone else. It doesn't work.
That's it. Because you'll be constantly chasing their approval. And
you don't even know what they exactly want. That you don't even know you don't know what they're waiting for you to prove.
Correct.
How can
they don't know what they want you to prove? Hell, they don't.
No.
And one of the things that I love about you is your style. First of all.
And thank you.
First of all, Cynthia don't know.
What you had to
Next
tell
time
me.
I see her, I'm taking her shoes. First, so we have
all of the shoes?
Listen, a few of them. I'm just letting you know that right there, because we also wear the same shoe size, which again, a problem. Me and Cynthia are literally the same size in everything.
That's true.
I should do. I'm gonna be shipping you a pair of shoes. I think you actually really like that. I think are fire. They fire. But your sense of style is dumb. First of all, Cynthia shamed me on the IG Live we randomly got on a few months ago, because it was in the beginning of quarantine.
Yep.
Actually, it wasn't a few months ago, because shit, what is time at this point? That was like March 2020.
Was that March?
That was like March or April.
Was it?
It was March. And I was still in my auntie robe mode, where I was like in the mode of like, I'm not getting dressed for anything. And I didn't even have on my wedding rings, and I didn't have on any of my earrings. And Cynthia is on this live in all the drip, all the drip like she typically is. And she's like, Luvvie, where are your jewels? And I'm like, yeah, it's like by my bed. She was like, ma'am, I'm gonna need you. And she shamed me. And ever since, I've made sure that I've had on my wedding rings and all my jewels every day.
Good.
Every day since. I've been like, let me not shame Cynthia.
Good.
Let me not shame Cynthia.
I'm proud of you. I'm seeing all the drip. I'm really pleased with you.
Look, all right, just all the pretty's jewels are on me and ready.
Good.
Ready to go.
It makes me happy because, like, I don't know. I think I just like us when we're like in gold and we're dripping and we look good and we feel good. I think it's luxury. Like, yeah. Well, I think it's like, because it doesn't, real or not, if it makes you feel good, you'll probably also look good too. And I don't mean look good. I mean, look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that'll come through.
So wait, how long have you actually been collecting jewelry? Oh,
at this point, for a few years, but like it really ramped up like 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It got a little bit nuts because I loved jewelry. Like, well, I mean, here's the thing. No, I'm wrong. I love jewelry full stop. So I was collecting like costume pieces when I was about 15, 16. Okay. And obviously because I was doing backing vocals, you would need like earrings, you would need like necklaces, you would need all of that, bangles, all of that stuff. So I would like wear them for shows and whatnot. And then I left to come here and was like, oh, I need jewelry. And I really enjoyed like wearing pieces that would be loaned to me. And then I was like, I want my own stuff. And obviously I've been piercing my ears for a really long time and now currently have 21 piercings in my ears.
You have 21 ear piercings? Bruh. Cynthia, so, okay, so I told you I got my cartilage pierced, right?
Yeah.
But I took the earring out.
What?
My ears couldn't handle it. Like after a year, it just did not heal properly.
Okay, so it means you have the wrong jewelry. Did you have a stud in it or did you have a ring?
So I had a stud at first, right?
Yeah.
And then Pretty made me a ring at the beginning of the year. She actually like made me like a diamond ring for it.
Yeah.
I just, like my ears, it just was not healing. It was just like, it kept on being red and like, so I took it out. I was like, dang it. And I had a nose ring a few years ago also. Nose ring also didn't. I was like, I don't think my body loves piercings.
So you have to, did you take care of them after you got them pierced?
I feel like I did. I mean.
When you say, I feel like I did, that means no. Because you'll know if you're taking care of them. That is, I feel like I did is not the same as, yes, I did take care of them.
You're like, yeah, okay.
So that might be why. No. No. Tell me what your method of taking care of these piercings were.
See how my voice got high pitched? That's how you know I ain't even talking. Well, I think I don't know if I did that much actually. You're right.
Well, there,
I probably didn't do what I
is.
was supposed to do. Yeah,
right.
You're right. You're probably right.
Yeah. So get your piercing back and just take care of it. And here's the thing. Piercings,
what I gotta do?
So your piercer will tell you, but Castile soap is really helpful to keep it clean. Okay. You just lather it up and put it on the piercing, both sides, when you're in the shower every morning and at night. If it gets really like odd, our piercer told me use crushed up aspirin. Okay. Just put it on like a paste and it should take all of the issues away immediately. Saline water also helps. You get like saline pads. Usually they'll send you away with some and you can just keep it clean. And that's what you do. Rotate if you have an earring in your ear, in your nose, you leave it alone.
Okay.
Yeah. This one healed really quickly. This one was healed with septum. That was my septum. This one healed very quickly.
Oh. Yeah. So I just, so far my drip has just been in the I mean, I have 2 ear piercings. Like I've had 2 ear piercings out. My first one, of course, when I was like 3 months, second one at 9, but I haven't all the other piercings since. Yeah. My aunt like got my ear pierced. I'm pretty sure my mom was not happy about it, but I was actually the cool kid in class with 2 ear piercings. Everybody was like, you got 2 of them? I was like, yeah. So, but the rest of the jewels are the bracelets, the rings. I'm a fan of necklaces. So every day, my every day is 3 necklaces. I'm always like, I'm
going to see you. I want to see you with like another piece, like a chunkier piece.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. You see these are like.
Oh, the medallion.
Yeah.
Is that Foundry?
That's Foundry.
She made me a ring.
I know.
Oh my God. It's so beautiful.
That's a good piece to have. Foundry is a wonderful piece to have because it also comes from such good energy. She's such a sweet person.
Yeah,
Beth is amazing.
Beth is dope. I'm overdue. Person. When my book comes out, I'm actually going to gift myself with a chain. I'm like, Pretty, now officially get me Professional Troublemaker.
Yeah.
The chain, right?
Good.
Like what that looks like. I might have to design that and gift myself.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to take care of yourself right now? What's your self-care?
Like I'm currently, right as we speak, getting a pedicure.
Yo, the flex. You will not be getting a pedicure, right? That's a flex. That's a flex.
So, like I'm taking care of myself. When I finished Aretha, I really like wanted to like return to myself. The thing I do is my nails, and I hadn't had my nails done for such a long time. So like I flew my my manicurist in. We're all very safe. Everyone has to be COVID tested and all of that stuff. So I promised I was doing the guidelines and whatnot. And I've been tested almost every day to make sure I was safe.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. This nose has seen some swabs.
That thing.
I have been tested so often at this point. It's ridiculous. But yes, safe as houses. And she came to do my nails. Yeah. So I got like all of that stuff and making sure that I don't know, I just take care of myself, eating good food. I work out, I work out. And for a while during quarantine, I really just stopped for a second. I just needed a break. But when I got back to do Aretha, I needed to work out. I just needed it. Like I was craving it. And that is my thing now. Like that really does take care of me. Like it really starts the day. Yeah.
I got a Peloton now. I finally go.
I'm going to convert the entire world into having a Peloton.
I have a Peloton now, and I've literally only done 3 workouts. I said, bless it.
Come on.
I mentioned on social media that I got a Peloton, and because I have the same username everywhere, I got all these requests, and I was like, I'm not going to add random people, so y'all can judge my inactivity.
No, that's what will help. Get on the bike.
You know who's now addicted to it? Who? So like working out?
Who?
Carnell gets on the Peloton every day. He's lost 25 pounds.
I'm telling you that thing is good. I'm telling you right now. People don't believe it. So someone was like, so Peloton, is it really that good? Is it really that good? I'm like, yes. Yes, it is. Because it's not just the bike. It really is like the people who we call it, there is the culture of it, but everybody is an individual on that thing. And everyone has their own stories. They genuinely have their own stories. And everyone has come to the Peloton, like all those instructors have come to the Peloton on their own, having dealt with whatever they've dealt with. Robin, who's an amazing trainer on there, is about to be a new mom. But I was riding with her a year ago when she had just gotten married, and she's brilliant. And she was a lawyer at one point, and then her life was totally different and she changed it completely. Then Alex, who I think recently just lost someone, and has veterans in his family, he works as well. Tunde, who is newest to the Peloton, maybe is like
Tunde is a whole vibe.
She's amazing, but she her story to get to fitness is really inspiring. It came from a place of I couldn't be this person anymore, and I wanted to change my life. So she changed her life, started through fitness, and is now one of the most favored people on Peloton. It's the personalities are really wonderful to be a part of, and it's not. It doesn't feel like it's without you can't reach it. It doesn't feel like a goal that people can't reach, because they make it so easy. I can tell someone, just take 15 minutes.
That's true.
Take 20 minutes.
I'm gonna let you shame me into doing more of it. I said I was gonna get on.
Just start small, because the thing is, people think you have to go on and do a 90-minute ride. You have to do a 60-minute ride. No, you can literally.
I did 20 minutes. Of course, I laid out for an hour afterwards, but
here's this, right? Some of them 20-minute rides will do that to you. Some of them are tough.
I did a Tunde low impact ride, and I was like, what?
You're asking for trouble. If you do any Tunde rides, you're asking for trouble.
I was Jesus.
None of them.
The recovery was just, but yeah, no, I'm actually gonna get back to it. It's a good move, but so
it's amazing.
My final question for you is, what does it mean to you to be a professional troublemaker?
I think it's kind of awesome for me to be a professional troublemaker, because I think it allows people to not be so afraid of being different, trying different things, shaking up the zeitgeist a little bit, creating in different ways. I don't know. I think it brings me a kick to show people alternative ways of being their best selves.
That's so clutch. That is so clutch. And that's actually the spirit of why I called my second book Professional Troublemaker, because I think the disruptors in the world, like yourself, disrupting usually looks like just owning what you're dope at. Yeah. It means doing the thing that nobody might have done, that you saw them do in the way that you're doing it.
Right.
And not apologizing for it.
Exactly.
And not apologizing for it. And I am just honored to watch you live life out loud, to gift us with your gifts. I'd be like, Lord, Cynthia be slaying us with the songs. But even beyond that, like, you're just such an amazing person.
Thank you.
Y'all, Cynthia sang me down the aisle. Like, I was so afraid. So, like, it was such a... Yo, I can't. It's like I actually got out of my own body. You singing me down the aisle actually was like, I have to not listen to Cynthia right now because I will crumble into tears. Like, I was like, focus. Just, I can't. And it was such a gift on such a special day for me.
Yeah, it was wonderful that day.
It meant the world. And your friendship is one of the gifts that I hold dear and cherish.
I love you, Luvvie.
I love you so much. And I'm so excited for whatever's next. I know Edith's, your production company.
Yep, Edith's daughter.
After
my mother.
Your mother.
Yeah.
And I want people to follow what you're up to. So don't worry, we're going to put all the ways people can follow you, and support you. And at any time that you need our help, our voice, our energy, our loud cheers, you have it.
Thank you.
We will continue to loud everything.
Thank you.
Everything. And I am just so proud to exist in this time and playing with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I love you very much so. And I'm just going to keep trying to make everyone proud, trying to make myself proud, having a good time, and telling all the stories I possibly can.
That's it. And I can't wait to see you again because Lord knows.
I know, we need a hug.
We were supposed to kick it this year and stuff. And then quarantine happened.
Just ruined it and...
Just ruined it. I think the last time I saw you was when I was in your apartment.
Yes.
Last year when I brought you some Niger food.
And you did me such good. Like, that was goodness. I basically ate off that food for about 3 days.
Good.
It was some good food.
Look, so...
That was some good food. Thank you.
More to come, and I will see you one of these days once the world opens up, or once I get tested 8 times.
Lord.
And there's no occasion.
We'll be there. It will all be okay.
Yes.
It will all be okay.
Bye, boo.
Bye.
Oh my God, I love her so much. That is truly what it looks like to be a professional troublemaker as a life habit. One of my biggest takeaway quotes from what Cynthia said is, you're never going to prove yourself enough. So all you have to do is prove yourself to yourself. So as y'all start to embark on this fear fighter journey, you just have to be able to know your values and look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day with pride. And she embodies all of that so well. Be sure to follow Cynthia on social media. She is at Cynthia Erivo on Instagram. And be sure to scan her feed for any videos of her singing. She's amazing. Her vocal cords were blessed with Jesus' tears. It's a fact. So make sure you check out what she's doing next. And thank you to Cynthia for blessing us with that conversation. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Professional Troublemaker podcast. If you loved what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Professional Troublemaker in your podcast platform of choice and share it with people. Let them know this is dope. Also, order my namesake book, Professional Troublemaker, the Fear Fighter Manual, anywhere that you buy books. I especially love when you buy it from independent bookstores. So go to professionaltroublemakerbook.com for more, because this book is game-changing, and I'd say that even if I wasn't the one who wrote it. And please make sure you rate this show and leave a comment with a 5-star review, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you choose to listen. Feel free to also share some insights and whatever connected with you on social media. And be sure to tag us. We are at Professional Troublemaker on Instagram. And me, I'm at Luvvie everywhere. Until next time, have the courage to speak your truth and show up as yourself. Create good trouble.